Hello again.
Hello. It looks like mine's working.
Yeah, right. So I just click ready, ready for voice recording.
Yep.
Ready, go. Oh, hang on, no, record button. Start recording. Yeah, I think I'm good to go too.
Okay.
Yep. I'll minimise that one. So how are you going?
Good, how are you?
Very well, thank you. So yeah, look, I'm Heath Mitchell from Star Agents, and obviously we've arranged this meeting to have a chat about a mutual client of ours, Sally Soprano, who we understand that you may have some interest in for your upcoming title role in Norma.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm Morgan Johnson. I'm negotiating on behalf of the Lyric Opera Theatre.
Yep.
And like you said, just negotiating regards to Miss Soprano performing in the lead role in Norma in their upcoming production.
Yeah. So I guess we understand that the role is imminent in that we're looking to the production's some 3 weeks away, and obviously you guys are keen to get someone into the role, and I guess from our position we can be quite open and honest in suggesting that Sally herself is very keen to to play the part, having played it previously. And further to that, just as an aside, Star Agents as a company are probably a new player in the operatic scene, and so we're keen to expand our position in that market, and so we're keen to do business as well.
Sounds good. So I'll just get started just with some of the details. So I've set aside approximately an hour for this negotiation,
Yep.
And I have the authority to reach and make an agreement if that comes around. There's no one else in the room with me. I've got no one on speaker. No one else will be privy to this discussion.
Yep.
And I have previously spoken to you via email, but only in regards to the details of today's meeting. We haven't discussed anything else so far.
Yep.
Okay.
No, I'd be in agreement with all that, and from Star Agents' point of view, same situation. I'm here by myself. I represent the company, and we have clear instructions from our client that we have full authority to reach any agreements that we can today.
Sounds good. Okay. So were there any details that Miss Soprano would like from us before we begin negotiating?
Look, having played the role before, she's pretty comfortable, I think, and she's obviously worked with lyric opera before. She's had good experiences there, and as such, in terms of the role itself and your company, there's no hesitation on her end. She's comfortable, that she understands the role. In fact, she feels that, given her previous experience, she's now in a position where she's probably even more ready to play the role. Having worked with you guys before, she's happy to do so again. So from her end, she's not asking too many questions. She's just asking us to see that we can see if we can reach an agreement.
So it sounds like the focus of today will be an outcome and signing Miss Soprano. So from our end, I think probably the biggest thing that we would like to talk about would be the salary.
Yep.
Were there any issues that you feel that we should discuss today, or were you more focused on that as well?
Yeah, I mean, look, definitely that we will need to get to a point where we need to conclude that, and I guess our understanding of the market at the moment is that from the time that Sally played the role a few years ago, fees have probably gone up with inflation and with the popularity in the industry. And as a result, I guess it comes down to where we view Sally in the market, whether that's as a top end performer, as a title role performer, as someone who can draw crowds. So I think that's going to have a fairly significant impact on where we get to with regards to a salary position.
Yep. So it sounds like you're considering Sally's popularity, and you feel like her salary should reflect that.
Yeah, well, we think that it's probably a give and take situation. Lyric opera being a hang on, I'm in trial mode. Just bear with me for 2 seconds. I've just got a thing come up from the Ava people.
Oh, that's so good. Mine's recording, so if you have any issues, I can stick it up on YouTube and send you the link.
How do I click here to get the license code? Sorry, I'm in 2 seconds. Here it comes. Is it going to give me one? Continue trial. I think it's still going. No, we're still going. Yeah, sorry. Look, given that you guys are genuinely in a situation, from what we understand, with Regina, I think it was. If I get her name right.
Yeah.
A rising star. You guys are in a situation where you genuinely need a solution. We understand that. We also understand that you're a not-for-profit entity.
Yes.
We value that. And so we think, that we'd like to think that what Sally's going to ask for is going to be fair. We'd like it to be fair for both parties.
Yeah, well, like you said, we have been put in a bit of a spot with Miss Rising Star's position. And the artistic director, he is a big fan of Sally, and he would love to have her back. So
yeah.
We'll just see if we can reach an agreement today, and everyone will be happy.
Exactly. Hey, look, what I'll do is I'll send you through a little bit of information in terms of, if I can find it here, if I can send you through this. They're going to come through. And then some of the discussion, send that through. Is that going to come through? Does that come through at your end?
Yes, I got that.
Just in terms of revenue, I guess, we're making a couple of assumptions here, but based on the capacity of the theatre being 2,000 and the pricing of the tickets being somewhere between $18 and $55, we're thinking that there's an average ticket price, of some $36.50, just meeting that halfway. That provides, in a sold-out show, that provides you revenues of $70,000, $60,000 at 85% house, and probably dropping down to 60%, $43,000. And you guys want to protect your house margin. It's quite obvious that so a not-for-profit entity can't be paying top dollar for a performer if the house isn't being drawn. But that said, I guess for a sold-out show, our understanding would be that some years ago, Sally played the same role for $22,000.
Yes.
And since that time, it's our understanding that salaries have probably risen to nearly double for top shelf performers. So I mean that probably gives us a top end target for a top end performer of around $44,000 at market value. Whether Sally is still at that point, is openly up for debate. She's kept herself very busy in the last 2 years, but it's predominantly been, or it has been, in secondary roles. But that said, she retains fine voice, and we believe that if she can draw a sellout crowd, she probably warrants, nearly market value.
The practice of the theatre is typically that the lead role will get about double what the secondary role would be.
Mm-hmm.
So at the moment, I think our secondary soprano is getting $14,000. So typically we would offer about $28,000 for the role of Norma.
Yeah, rightio. I guess where we were looking to, see if we could secure the role for Norma as a top shelf performer, which I think that she's shown with her talents in the past that she can, is we were looking to perhaps do that on a sliding scale, and to suggest to the house, suggest to the theatre, I guess that she probably warrants top shelf figures if she can produce a top shelf performance and draw a top shelf crowd. But if the house doesn't reach that expectation, Sally herself and us as her agent probably need to accept some responsibility. So what we're considering discussing today, I guess, is as we've said there, if we get a sold out show, but then drop down to an 85% house, the house loses just under $11,000. If unfortunately she can only draw a 60% house, the house loses nearly $30,000. Now, what we'd like you to consider perhaps is that if that is the case, we have an incentive-based contract whereby anything below a sellout, Sally and ourselves as her agent will wear half of that loss. For example, if we can only produce an 85% house, we'd like to think that we'll wear half of that $10,950, which would mean that it's a sliding scale of wages. But we'd like to think at a sellout scale, she would receive top shelf money. Is that concept something that the house would consider?
I think they would prefer to pay a flat rate salary, but I think that we could definitely work with that idea.
Mm-hmm.
So what figure were you thinking of?
Yeah, I guess like I say, we were thinking of having, if Sally was in the market, as a top shelf performer, our understanding was that based on the $22,000 she received some 4 years ago, that would equate to probably close to $44,000 at a sellout. But I guess on the sliding scale, at an 85% house, that would go down to $38,500, and a 60% house, that would go down to $29,400. And so I guess what we're asking the theatre is to, have a give and take contract whereby, as a top shelf performer, if we can fill the house, she receives the adequate wage. But if she can't draw that house to protect the theatre's bottom line, it drops accordingly.
I think the only issue that we have is that we do have an alternate soprano, and we would give her just a flat rate of 28. So I think so we do have that fallback just in case we can't reach an agreement today, but we would really like to have Sally perform.
Yep.
We were going to pay Miss Rising Star $30,000 for her performance for the 6-week run.
Yep.
And that was just going to be a flat rate salary.
Yep.
And I think that she was. I think that they had a bit more. She has a bit more of a fan base at the moment. I think that Sally's popularity may have dropped down in the past couple of years, so we weren't quite sure whether or not this would have announcing her. Sorry, I need a drink of water. So announcing her in the title role so late into the production might have a bit of a detrimental effect on ticketing sales.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, that's interesting. I mean, Sally, Miss Rising Star is obviously an upcoming performer. There's no doubt about that. I guess from our position, we would, argue that she's probably yet to reach the heights that Sally did at her peak, and we'd like to think that as a performer, Sally still maintaining her good voice. We're confident that she'd be able to maintain that crowd, if not probably draw a higher crowd than this Rising Star, given her reputation and like I say, and the fact that she's played the role before, and she's more and more comfortable with playing the role, having done so 4 years ago in her current position. So yeah, we're probably comfortable that Ms. Rising Star, whilst a very good performer, we're not sure that she's made Sally's sort of heights just at this stage.
I suppose one of our other issues is if we were to pay Sally a substantial amount more than what we were offering this rising star, that could also have an effect if that were to become public knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, so if we were to offer her more than Miss Rising Star, would we be able to ensure confidentiality if that were to...
I don't think there'd be any issues in terms of confidentiality at our end, in terms of contracts and things like that. I guess then the question becomes, what is a fair and reasonable amount over and above what Miss Rising Star was being offered? In terms of trying to come to a point, I guess what we might be looking for is how much more valuable is Sally Soprano at this point in time, given her experience, given her suitability for the role, given that she has played the role before and worked for the lyric opera before. And I'll go back to what we said at the start. We've got clear instructions that Sally is keen to perform the role. So whilst 44,000 would be a lovely figure to reach, we're probably happy to negotiate and find a mutually agreeable sum. Somewhere between that and the 30,000 that we're currently offering this Rising Star.
So we've just gone over 15 minutes, so nothing else is going up on YouTube.
Oh, right,
yeah. So would Miss Soprano consider 35,000?
Yeah, look, I think to be fair, I think that she would accept that figure of 35,000. I think that that's probably a fair and reasonable assessment of where she's at with regards to where Ms. Rising Star is at. And if the company's happy to take a flat fee as opposed to a sliding scale, that probably falls, close enough to the middle of what we were asking for to be acceptable to Sally and us as her agent.
So that would be 35,000 and a flat rate salary.
Yep. No, we'd be comfortable with that figure.
And I think that maybe wouldn't require a confidentiality agreement, given that it's only a small amount over.
Yep. No, I think that's a good opportunity. As I said, with knowing how keen our client is to perform the role, and the fact that it's a good opportunity for her to get back into a lead role, she's probably happy to accept that offer and take the opportunity as it comes.
Okay, so I'm just going to stop that.